give Facebook enough time to send out the notifications. And see if it worked. Oh. Alright, so it looks like it's showing me on there. And mute. Okay, so hopefully it works better tonight so that I can see that if you are popping on, when you pop on, you catch me in a live, in the bottom corner you'll get a little thing that says get all live notifications. So if you want to know when I'm live, it'll just give you like a little pop-up, or it'll be in your little bell thing to let you know what's going on. And my head's a little, okay, so I've got the new truck transfer, which does both sides of the truck, and then I've got from the Farm Charm collection the Life is Better in the Country, and I'm gonna try to figure the truck will fit on this, so I'm gonna try to do a little combination of them, the Life is Better in the Country and the truck. I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up. So this is just one I picked up at the dollar store. Figure I'll try it, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. But if I do like it, then I'll probably end up putting it on like a t-shirt. This one's not as rough as they usually are. Sometimes the smaller ones are really, really rough, and I'll put wax on them. But I'm not going to do that this time because it doesn't feel that bad. You can always put wax on as a precaution. It's more or less to protect your transfer. And if anybody has any opinions on the color of the truck or any colors that I'm using tonight, certain colors that you like, let me know. I'll use this. Colors I have the hardest time picking out. Okay, so obviously this is a 12 by 18 C transfer, but it's actually got 4 in it. And they're each labeled. So this is A1, A2, B1, B2. So you do the one first, and then you can do an overlay to add like some more color and depth to it. You don't have to, it's not required, but you'll see the difference once I put it on here. So I haven't actually done the truck before. There was an older truck, but there was only like one side of the truck. There's actually nice wood cutouts that go perfectly with the truck, and you can even do the accessories so it can sit up on a nice block of whatever label or season that you want to have it on. I'm only going to use one side because it's just a one-side canvas. But they have different things like pumpkins for the back, or watermelons, or hearts, depending on the time of the year and season. And there was a whole bunch of accessories. So like for St. Patrick's Day, there was ones with like clovers and a little leprechaun hanging out the back. And it's got a little bit of a wood. So if anybody knows the black truck that my dad has, the old one in the 50s, it looks like this, but it's black. So I am going to fuzz it up a little bit. Grab one of my fuzzing cloths. It is really quiet, but I don't know if you can hear outside all the crickets and everything. During the day it's the birds, and at night it's the crickets. I'm not going to paint or anything on the canvas. I'm just going to pretty much do it as is. Nothing really fancy other than my colors. You probably shouldn't hear any motorcycles, but you might hear motorcycles. They have been going by all day long because it's nice. It's like over 75 out, which is extremely rare for New York State. Okay, I'm just, why am I putting it on the towel and pulling it up? I'm fuzzing it up the back, so I don't know if you can see any of the fuzz on it. So it's still really sticky. It's just not super sticky, so that I'm going to easily be able to get it off of this. When you're doing something like fabric, you don't really need to fuzz it up because you want it to be as sticky as possible. So I've got the, so I think I'll put the truck in the middle and do the Life is Better here. And then in the Country at the bottom. Try to work that out, hopefully. If it overlaps a little, it might overlap a little. It's not a big deal. I do actually have, with the truck for it, because I do have like tire tracks that I did on my own stencils. So we'll see how that looks. And then I'm just smoothing it down, especially around the silkscreen mesh area, to make sure that there's no bubbles. And there are actually little markers here that you can mark. If you want to use those, sometimes usually just put a little piece of tape underneath it. So what it does is it helps when I go to line this one up, it gives me the right little spots to make sure I line it up perfectly on both sides. I don't usually use them. If it's on a chalkboard, I just let it go through and then wipe off the little dots afterwards. Because I don't know that I'm going to use the second part of it. I might. We'll see. First, this is, better label this because I'm going to have multiple ones now. So this is A1 truck. And this is the A2 truck. Trying to get in a better habit of labeling the back of my stencils. It'll make it easier when I go to, after they dry, just to put them back on their correct backers and not have to guess. So, anybody have any particular colors they want to see? So this could actually be an outline, and then where you see the big teal green transfer area, that could actually be a different color. So I could really do anything on it. Slash. Okay, I'm gonna grab my black. I did just get my black in, the one that's not a shimmer splash, but just a true black. So it's a new paste formula, I haven't used it yet. Hi, how are you doing? Okay, so got the Seal for Your Protection foam seal. Remember to keep the foam seal in your lid. Put a little piece of glue in there and it helps hold it. I keep forgetting to do that. It looks pretty good. This is how they all should look now. If you have any of the older pastes, it will look a little bit different, but I'm just stirring it up just to get it nice and level because it looks like the jar was like sitting on its side at some point. That happens in transit, or if you drop the jar on the floor or something, or it's tipped sideways on the shelf. So that's really all I'm doing this part for. And I already got it on my finger. I don't know how I do that. There we go. Alright. I'm not too worried about too much being on my fingers because it's just chalk paste, so it's easily going to wash off. The ink, the sooner you get it off your fingers, the better. I've been able to get it off after the fact, like after an hour, but the ink is permanent, whereas the chalk paste is not. I mean, I can always seal this afterwards with a spray, in which case it would then become permanent. But so I'm going to do a nice black chalk. It'll look like Dad's truck. And I'm going to use the small squeegee. I know it's small, but it's not the mini. It's actually called a small, which doesn't make any sense. I say that every time just because it doesn't make any sense. Nobody understands it, but I don't know what came. I don't know if this came before the mini or not. But you can also cut them in half. They're just silicone, so that you can easily cut them with scissors. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole truck in black. And then I'll let that dry while I'm doing the life is better in the country wording. The chalk paste, don't be afraid to put extra on there. It's not a big deal. This has obviously like a little wood in the back where I could have done it in brown. I'm just doing a quick and easy black all the way around. And then just go over and scrape the excess off. Put the excess down another area until I get done. And then I'll pop it back. Anything left on my squeegee back in the jar. Okay, everybody's taxes filed today. If anybody uses TurboTax, they do have out the software patch so that people who got unemployment because that extra money from the feds was not taxed. That software update is now out there. So if you were waiting for that to do your taxes, you should be able to go ahead and do them now. I just filed taxes for lots of different people, so I was waiting on that update. All right, so as you can see, my little truck. I've got my water bath over here. I actually switched it from like one of those dish buckets to, I don't think you can really see it, but I switched it from a dish bucket to, at the dollar store, I got one of the oil pans, just because it's more round and easier. Works pretty well. Right. So just grab up each corner. I usually do the shortest side of the transfer. And then as you're pulling it up, you can see if there's any areas that, like I missed a little spot on that one, and I didn't realize I missed it. So I'm gonna grab, oops. I'm just gonna grab one of my little mini squeegees. So as I'm pulling it up, if I see any area that I missed one little spot on the corner of the back tailgate of the truck. You just push it down and add a little bit more. Just gonna keep pulling it up. So I'm definitely going to want to add some color because right now it's looking like a black and white truck. But I'm not going to add black to that area. I'm just putting that in the water bath so that it'll be easier to get the chalk paste off afterwards. Hey! So this is what I've got so far. You can see all the little detail that gets in there. I'll close up my black and pick out a color. I need to let that dry. Which by the time I get done with the Life in the Country lettering, it should be all dry. Just throw those in there. Okay, I have to grab out my tire tracks, which should be in there. So now I just need to do Life is Better in the Country. I think I'll use the, anybody care colors on opinion? Opinion on colors? I've got blues and Tide. I don't really like red. I do have my guava, which is like a brighter color. It's an orangish red. I'm gonna do the shimmer. Actually, I could mix some colors together. That would definitely have more of a country feel to it. Wait, what do I have left here? So I've got my guava and my eucalyptus. I think I'll do a combination of that or the Tide with one of them. I've narrowed down to a couple colors. Anybody have an opinion on color? Yes? No? No? And then I've got blue also. Oh, I hate deciding on colors. Alright, let me get my lettering out. And I can already, usually on the canvas, you can see where it starts to dry. It starts obviously at the edge. And I mean, I'd show you, but it would be hard to tell. So I can see the back part's already starting to dry. So it will not take very long for that to dry. If I have the quick dry tool, which I don't have yet, I can speed it up really quickly. Hopefully that comes back in stock soon because I missed it on launch day and they didn't have enough for everybody. And there's about almost 20,000 designers. So this over here, and I'm gonna fuzz up this transfer. I'm fuzzing this up because I really want to make sure it doesn't pick up any of that paint. But I'm also going to try to keep part of it on the white background. Just to be a little extra cautious so I don't get it. So I'm not getting the sticky part on the black part of the truck to pull it off. So that's just something that I started doing. Just be a little extra cautious so I'm not pulling up anything. As you can see, it's still really sticky, and I've used this one several times on clothing and boards. And okay, so that should do it. We'll do like the life is better back here, I think. So I can tell from where I'm sitting the letters, I don't see any black underneath it. So it's actually above the truck. It's not going to be sitting on the truck, which is good. But I do have the which is above the white. So I'm going to take a little piece of tape, which you can use any kind of tape. Don't use the clear Scotch tape. But if you have masking tape or something, that will work perfectly. Just covering up the letters, just so that if I get a little careless, which I can when I'm talking and doing this at the same time, this gives me a little extra added protection so that if it goes through, it's not gonna hurt anything. Okay, so get my guava out. I probably should order another guava because I use it for everything. I use it for most stuff. And I don't really need to stir it up. So I'm just going to grab a squeegee and do my life is better in the country. So I'll do my life is better here, and then I'm going to figure out the in the country afterwards, but I have to clean this up before I do the in the country or it'll make a mess on my board. And I have the black for my fingers now and there, but that's easy to clean up. Okay, so I'm just going to try to add like a little second color. I'm just going to do it in one. It's because I can't decide on the colors. So as you can see, I'm going over the tape. It's not hurting anything. It doesn't go through the tape. Go in and pick up as much extra chalk paste as you need. I'm going to carefully pull it up again, and as I pull it up, I'll make sure that my letters, they do have white spots in them because it's on the transfer that way. It's meant to give like an aged distress look to the letters. Alright, so got that part. So while I'm letting this dry to figure out where I want the in the country to be, and if I want to keep it in the same color, I'm going to clean this up. And I actually got, because we're using my fuzzing cloth, so by the time I cut things, wash them, if I'm doing lots of stuff, it just takes forever for the towels to dry. Garbage. So I'm just going to, I picked up these are like the little dish drainer ones. That are designed to soak up water, and figured that's going to be better. Just try to tape to the side. And to clean this one, I'm not sticking it in there because I don't want to get the whole thing super wet. I'm just going to spray it with a little water and then use my little eraser, which you can easily use old washcloth. As you can see, it's essentially erasing it. It's on here. And I usually do it like a second time just to make sure I got it all. I don't want any of it coming into another section. I'm not really touching the section I haven't used yet. So. As you can see, it's still really sticky. And it is important to do the back because obviously when I did the front, I pushed anything that was there through the silk screen to the back. So I want to make sure that I don't have anything stuck in there, especially in the bottom part, so that I moved anything around. that's the part that's going to go on next. Still very sticky. String on there. I'm trying to get off. Okay, there we go. Okay. And I'm actually gonna grab one of my Clorox wipes because when you dry it with the Clorox wipes or wash it a little bit, it'll help speed up the alcohol in the wipe will help speed up the process. I do usually prefer to use these when I'm working with ink, just because makes it really easy to get off your hands when you're in the middle of doing stuff. Alright, so give that a minute to dry off. Go ahead and hit like. As I can see out there. Okay, so the other part of this is the better in the country and the truck overlay. So while this is drying, I think I can do the second part of the truck overlay. Last chance if anybody wants to shout out a color that they want me to use. I did pull out, let's see. So I do have the eucalyptus, which is the green. I have a blue. My dad did used to have an old green that was a different truck. I'm going to use the eucalyptus. It's another off green. And I don't think I've used this one yet. Just open that up. Alright, so I'm going to grab my other side of my transfer. And I don't have to color it. I just don't want a black and white truck. I want a little color on there. And you can do all different things. Some people are doing flowers and stuff to give it a really detailed design. Completely up to you. Alright, so I need it this way. This has a huge mesh screen area, so I don't know if you see the mesh screen of her. So I can't stick my finger through the stencil. It's actually a silk screen mesh that runs all the way through it. That helps the chalk paste go on evenly so you don't get clumps, and then makes it easier when you're scraping off the excess. And because I use a dark color underneath, I'm going to be able to easily line it up when I put it on there. So I don't care about the little stars to help me line it up. You may want to use that. When I first did a couple of these layers, I always used the stars on them. I think the fox and the foxes were the first ones I did that were layered. So pretty much this has green over all the areas that are black. And just line them up. So it dried a little quicker on the canvas than it normally would have for a chalkboard, just because it's soaking into the canvas a little bit. I can see the light is better, is pretty much almost all dry. Alright, so I'm going to use another one of my mini squeegees. And yeah, I'm just going to do the whole part in eucalyptus. This is, when I pull it off, you're going to see that it just gave a little extra dimension to the truck. It's even gonna have some color in the wheel wells. The truck is actually a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be from the pictures. So it's pretty much 12 inches. Just try to pull this off and see how it is. Hello. So, oh, there's a little area there where I missed a little bit of green. I'm just going to put it back down. There's like a little ridge in the back hook. Don't be in a rush to pull off stuff. Just go nice and easy. And I could actually take some of my silver, so I do have a shimmer silver, and put in, you know, anything around the tires or the side steps, the windows, the front and back bumpers. You can just take a paintbrush with chalk paste and water. A lot of people just use the lid, put a little in there. Just make sure you're using distilled or bottled water if it's going back into the jar. If you're doing it like on a little plate on the side or paper plate or whatever, you can just use regular tap water. So there's Life is Better. And I gotta figure out how I want to do the in the country part. Still got my guava out. Let's see how this is. So this is pretty much dry. The bottom part, of course, is still really sticky. And I'm going to put the white parts back on the top. Try to cover up the Life is Better. The part that I've already used. Oops. You will never get the transfer perfectly back on the backer. It just doesn't work that way. If you can, you're a genius. I've not been able to do it. Some people actually trim the transfer down on the edges so that nothing is hanging off the edge to make it easier to put it back on the backer. I don't go through that trouble. I figure if something on the edge is over the edge and dries up, that maybe I would, but otherwise I don't really care too much about that. Not something I'm really worried about. Alright. So, trying to see where I can fit the in the country. Can actually fit it right below the truck. In the center. I don't know how that's gonna look, but we'll see. Let's see. Wish me luck. Yeah, go ahead and hit like when you're on. You can also comment and share to get in the drawing, or join my VIP group and you see if there's any deals or specials going on and reminders. Hopefully that didn't go through to the transfer. So I just did a little guava on the little part of the R, but it's got the white backer behind it, so I'm good. Phew. That's one of the things with using tape on some of the areas if you're only doing a section of a transfer. It kind of gives like a little insurance policy that just in case you go over the edge, you don't have to worry about it. habit to get into checking your fingers before you pull things up, especially when you're working with ink, because if you're taking off the t-shirt or something, you got ink on your fingers, you're gonna get fingerprints. Let's see. Well, I could have the truck up a little higher. Not a big deal. Now I just need to decide if I want to use... I'm going to use the little leaves on each corner to round it out. Now I need to pick another color though. Pick a color. Somebody pick a color for me, please. Just pick one color for me. To do these little country kind of like fern almost. What's your favorite color? And this is why some people cut up the transfers. Some of them are designed to be cut up, but ones like this, I could cut up to have that off, the little leaf off, and use it on lots of different things. Again, something that's up to you, whatever works best for you. So I'm thinking, I've got this up here in the corner. Let's see how it looks in this corner as to whether or not I want to do it in the lower corner. Because I do have my muddy tire tracks. I'm using Tide for this one. They should be done with. Should be done with my guava. I want to add some. Which one is? Oh, that's in Splash. Okay. I'll do a little more of a blue. Let's see. Oops. Since I already had green on here, the Tide's more in the green area. Blue green. Let's put this up and see how it looks. Oh, I got a little part of something. A little part of the Y for country. That's okay. Pretend it's not there. So what do we think? Hi, Myra. Have you opened your kit yet? So I just did the truck and then Life is Better in the Country one. And I'm gonna grab one of the stencils that I actually made. Because when I was doing Mason's t-shirts for his YouTube channel, his Mud exclusive channel, I did some tire tracks. That's okay, it's just water. So in here, so these are stencils that I make. I usually call it blue and purple. I do like the purple better, but okay, so here's one where I did little muddy tire tracks. So I'm going to try to put that behind the truck and see how it looks. probably something that I could have put down first. One of those jars just had a little bit of dry paste on it. All right, hold on a second. I can hear the cat meowing, but she's not on the porch, so I'll make sure everything's okay outside. Since they just started going outside like 2 weeks ago, we have turkeys. Shut up and meowing. Alice, get in here. You're such a little turkey. Okay, so she was meowing at the front door, let alone she can go in and out the back all she wants. She's not supposed to be up front because I live on the highway. Thanks. It is cute. I had the hardest time deciding on the color that I wanted to use. So I do make custom stencils of my own. And let's see. I'm gonna grab a better mark. These ones, as you'll notice, are different than the Chalkology ones. It's clear. Alice, you better not get in the habit of going to the front door. You don't really need to fuzz these ones up because they're not super sticky like the Chalkology ones. Did the tire track down like that? I'm gonna take out the black again to go with the truck. So I don't have my bark yet, which is like the muddy dark brown color. And I want it to be darker than the camel, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little line across here for one tire track. You can actually pull it up a little bit. Not bad. I'm gonna add a little bit more though. Tire track too. Well, I could have done the tire track before tires. Oh, not bad. The main difference with the stencils that I make are you need to clean them. You don't put them in water, but you can, while they're still wet, put them back on the backer. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. The other ones, I leave those in a bucket. I have forgotten and had to clean some the next morning because I got distracted. But you're not supposed to leave them in like that. Usually mine are in the bucket for more than an hour. Just depends on how many projects I'm doing when I'm working on. So you can hear this is a different texture from the other ones. Squeaky is what you want to hear though. Squeaky tells you that it's still sticky. And usually with little ones like this, I will hold up to the light because some of them have such fine little holes. I want to make sure that I get it, all of them cleaned out. And that had just a couple at the end. For the tire tracks, it looks like they weren't fully clean. Which would mean the next time that I go to do it, it could just end up that it doesn't go all the way through in all the areas and it will look a little funny. And you stick it right back on the backer, the ones that I make, when it's still wet. And then I set out to the side to dry. so that pretty much takes care of the one tonight. What did that? So that went faster than I thought it was going to go. I'm just picking up my little thumbprint in black with my little Clorox wipe. And I could have always painted the entire thing one color, or I could have done like green for grass. I'm just erasing with my little Clorox wipe the chalk paste that was actually from the letter Y, but I had a little too close to this on the transfer. So I'm just taking it off. Nobody knows it was there except unless you watch the video. Okay, so this is what we've got. The Life is Better in the Country from that series. The truck could be a little higher. To remember that if I do it again. The Money Tire tracks I did myself. The truck is from the truck transfer. And then this is at the bottom of the Life in the Country. So I like it. Came out pretty good. I might end up filling in some of the sideboards and stuff and the grill with silver stuff once everything completely dries with a paintbrush. Paintbrush and water down. Probably either the gray, the greige, which is a really light gray, or the shimmer silver that I have. Alright, I am gonna sign off. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Hit like, comment, share to get entered in a drawing. And what else? Tomorrow I'm gonna do a couple of things that I got. It's like 3 things that I got at the dollar store, but I'm gonna like basically cover up what's on there because they were only $1 and turn them into like 3 or 4 different pieces. So watch for that tomorrow. I'll probably be during the day tomorrow just because my allergies are acting up, so I can't really go outside and enjoy the sun as much as I want to. Alright, life is better in the country. Everybody have a great Saturday night. Hopefully your cats aren't as much of a pain as Alice. Okay. Don't forget, there's always copies of these videos on my YouTube channel.